Factory Reset is a project created using Unreal Engine for Fortnite and the newly developed Verse programming language. The project challenged us to create new gameplay experiences around the idea of checkpoints. Our game treats state saving as a resource and the stored data as an item. This required a completely bespoke solution for an inventory and UI system, as well as new systems for manipulating spawner devices and rethinking the identification process for objects in the game. The game is inspired by 3D puzzle platformers like Portal, and the time puzzle sections in Ratchet & Clank are Crack in Time. Floppy disks are collected by the player and used to store positions, object references, and complete save states of the world in time. These are then reloaded in interesting ways using various terminals around the map. The result is a demonstration of the adaptability of the Fortnite framework and how original ideas can be materialized in the engine.
Working in the developing UEFN editor was certainly a fun experience. While UEFN may not have the features of a more developed editor, such as Unreal or Unity, we managed to come up with creative solutions for the problems we faced. The most interesting floppy disk from a technical perspective was the temporal floppy disk, which saves the position of every object at a given time. We had to loop over each selectable object in order to save the position of that object. We tagged the selectable objects with a verse tag to collect all of the selectable objects. We used techniques of object-oriented programming to provide encapsulation and separation of concerns. The floppy disks provide methods to access and restore their aspects of the state without having to worry about internal functions. When we were implementing the terminal would have methods to eject, insert, and activate. The most difficult challenge was the logic of what if the player inserts the disks out of order, but luckily all of our terminals accepted floppy disks of different types, so we could tell them apart.
UEFN provides only a move-to method for linearly moving objects between two transformations over some duration of time. We needed to extend this to allow for saving the current location of a platform and for resetting it. There was no built-in method for obtaining the progress of a movement, so we had to use the location of a platform and some maths to deduce the progress. When resetting, we used this progress number to recompute the location of a platform at the time of saving.
Unfortunately, most objects in UEFN don't have physics properties, so we had to make do with what the engine provided for us, specifically shopping carts, henceforth called trolleys. The player can move around these trolleys that have an invisible object following them, that can be selected, and then teleport a trolley by respawning it to another location. All the work of this is abstracted behind an interface, so trolleys look exactly like any other object for the rest of the program. Trolleys and the player need to be able to activate pressure plates, for which there aren't any options in UEFN. We've implemented a custom object that detects when a vehicle or player steps on it, and then pulls the surrounding area in order to deactivate when there aren't any more things on it. The pressure plate is then able to trigger other connected devices through an interface.
One of the biggest technical challenges was being unable to use the Fortnite inventory system, as UEFN currently does not support the creation of custom items that can interact with this system. Instead, we created floppy disk devices which act as the physical embodiment of the items, and the player UI then holds an array of references to these objects. However, this solution alone did not suffice, as these references needed to be related to the procedurally spawned widget in the inventory bar on the player's screen. I handled this by wrapping the disk reference and the subsequently spawned UI widget in a struct, and the array of these structs form a manipulable UI inventory. This means that when the inventory is cycled through, the newly held struct widget can be removed from the player's screen, raised up slightly, and then reinstantiated. The original UI item struct can then point to this new widget, meaning the logical representation of the item in the inventory is separate to the UI icon. Finally, because this game will be uploaded as a Fortnite island, any additional art assets had to be in keeping with the original Fortnite aesthetic. All of the puzzles had to be designed as a combination of these state-saving devices, and we hope you enjoyed playing them.